I call this regular meeting of the Park Board of Park Commissioners into order on Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. Reading into the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Okay. Roll call of commissioners.
Amber Burns.
Victor Farias.
Ellen Regal.
Joseph De Silva. Acceptance of minutes from the regular board meeting held on 2/1/2023.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of 2/1/23.
Second.
Commissioner Commissioner Farias made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Regal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just for clarification, I know you didn't, just going forward, because I was watching one of the other meetings, if you're not here from the prior meeting and you're not on the minutes, you cannot make a motion to second it. You guys were, but I'm just saying, in future, do not motion it if you weren't here. Citizen input. Any citizen input?
No.
Okay. Item A, new business. Item A, I need a motion to untable this.
Make a motion to on table.
Second.
Commissioner Farias made the motion to untable, seconded by Commissioner Regal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item A, I need we got a correspondence this afternoon, myself and Ms. Smith, that they're gonna withdraw this, so I need a motion to withdraw this.
Make a
Motion to withdraw.
second it.
Commissioner Burns made the motion to withdraw, seconded by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I need another item untabled. Item B, I need a motion to untable.
Make a motion on table.
Second.
Commissioner Burns made the motion to untable, seconded by Commissioner Regal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item B, request for Juneteenth event at Kennedy Park, Broadway, to take place on Saturday, June 17, 2023, previously tabled. We need to untable it, so it's third year, I believe. So it's all the same particulars. She's gave all the paperwork in and everything?
No.
Not yet, so.
So this is all pending
Pending.
receipt of all of the documentation
Mhm.
that is required to conduct an event.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve pending all documentation is received.
To Mrs. Smith.
I'll second that. Yes.
Commissioner Burns made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey, item C, Forever Arts project request to paint an Olmsted theme mural at Kennedy Park on the Kennedy Garage Building, Rafford Avenue. Come on. Just introduce yourself and where you from and everything.
Good evening, Katrina Myers, Fall River Arts Project.
Chandler Hearn, Fall River Arts Project.
Yes, we'd like to put a mural on the Kennedy Park Maintenance Building. We have some markups for you guys. And the most basic, you wanna do it?
Can I bring them up? please?
Absolutely.
The most basic one's just a portrait of Olmsted. And we're open to their drafts, and we want your guys' input and to hear what you think, and are happy to make revisions,
Yeah, these are
scrap
just
those
a couple,
ideas, or
yeah.
whatever you'd like to do.
Just kind of
Thank you.
spitballing, as they say, but we're, just something that everyone likes. We'd like to have something have the education come across, because we're talking about like, what's the ratio of people in Fall River that actually would see this and be like, oh, Olmsted? I'm sure a lot of people would, but there's probably a lot of people that don't. And to be able to kind of just bring that to light is
Right. And then one of the thoughts we had was text to accompany it and whether it should be incorporated within the mural or beside it and where that should come from. We talked about the Historical Society. We've been in touch with the National Parks Association and what's the Olmsted. There are multiple Olmsted associations who are very excited about Olmsted and Kennedy Park and have just like so many archives of the city like way back then. And
I guess Olmsted did 13 projects in Fall River. I didn't realize, being Kennedy Park and North Park, the biggest ones.
And
But-
Ruggles.
And
And
Ruggles,
Ruggles.
yes, and Ruggles. But I'm kind of curious to go around and find out what the other 10 of them are.
All right, so just to fill the rest of the board in, I had mentioned this a while ago that I wanted something done to see if we could do something with the Kennedy Park garage building. They needed a major facelift in that, and these kind folks, when they came to do a Halloween type, they had took the initiative to go out and apply for a grant and to do this. In the meantime, the city did a renovation of that building. So now I have to bring these photos to the administration and that to review with them to see what they'd like to do. So we're gonna talk about it, get some ideas, and then bring it to them, and then we'll decide together what we wanna do.
And our thought was if you guys had any input on what you want that imagery to be, we can take it and develop it more. So what you present to the city for
Yep.
approval is more fleshed out and the colors are what you want it to be and
Yeah, it
all of
works
that.
visually.
The
I
one thing
mean-
I will say is I love this idea, but I do also like the idea of incorporating text so that if people are walking by and have no idea who that is, so that there is something, and not necessarily like even like a little, like, I know most of the time they have like a little plaque to the side, but like having something on there that like has some descriptive information
Right.
on there would be great.
Yeah, and that's what I had mentioned about the last meeting when they came, was most people, and even kids today, know the history in that. This is history. And that's why I like this, because I was coming up with the same idea as like what they did up on Second Street. Paint it, they have like Alfred Einstein and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like pretty cool. I like stuff like that.
That's
But
a
this
good
right here is nice because it has like history, pictures and everything. And then I like this one with the pavilion in the background.
So I just have one question. Do you have documentation of your conversations with these various organizations?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So that would probably be something that would be helpful
Mhm.
in all of us in the administration, knowing that you have already investigated, you know, Olmsted and the National Historic, all of that type of thing. So
Mhm.
that would
Yes.
probably be
Show that we've done
helpful.
our homework. and-
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether, you know, we would meet individually, or maybe the administration would like to meet with you or someone from them, their administration, you would just see, you know, kick around whatever ideas you have.
Yeah.
And something that they can have. So I'm not sure if that's a meeting that everybody would be open to, but I think this is a start. I think as far as if you can forward me that documentation, it kind of supports that you've done your homework with the other organization, because I'm sure that's gonna be the first question. How we need to reach out, you know, to the historic, we need to reach out to these Olmsted people. So if you can forward me that information, I will put
Definitely.
that with this as supporting documentation of your research and your outreach work.
Yes.
And that probably would speed this process along. So,
Definitely.
Gotcha.
With that, I would think that the board would have to, since last time it wasn't even on the agenda, they would have to probably table this till we receive that information, and then we would probably try to schedule a meeting between now and our next board meeting with the administration, just to kick around what ideas, show them what you have, show them who you've contacted.
That
So,
sounds great.
If that's something you can get to me, the sooner you get it to me, the sooner I can
This
turn it
evening.
around.
Oh, yeah, we
Yes.
can do it. Let's
Yeah.
forward it right on over.
Okay. Any other questions? You guys have anything?
Do you guys have any other input for us of things that you think should be changed before approaching the city?
Well, I definitely like Commissioner Burns was saying about the text and that we definitely, like, who Olmsted was, like, the father of these parks, is, you know, the designer or something like that.
That
the
gives
history,
them
so when
context.
someone comes up and
Yeah.
sees who's Homestead.
Yeah. I thought it'd be even cool to have like a QR code so people could scan it and it would just go right to, and I mean, then you have all the history in the world. And that's nice, that's interactive. And I also wanted to, like, just mention, I know the building was recently painted that nice dark green, but, at the same time, anytime you do a mural, it would have to have been painted and primed.
Yeah.
So now it's like ready, and if it was like a different, well, that one we just did do something else, then like if it was the way it was raw before, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they had to point the cinder and stuff, and I'm sure there was some repair that needed to be done
Yeah.
to get it looking tight the way it is.
Yeah. Any other questions, Commissioners? Commissioner Heredia? Commissioner Ryan?
Good idea.
All right,
All
Okay.
right, so as soon as you can get that stuff over to Ms. Smith.
good
Will
deal.
do.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to table this item?
Make a motion, second it.
Commissioner Ray made the motion to table, seconded by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item D is a request for Justin Latini of the Vietnam Vets of America for the use of Veterans Memorial Bicentennial Park, Duval Street, for an event on March 24th and September 15th.
I have to excuse myself.
Yep. Come on up.
Morning.
Ali?
Good evening. This is just two of my cards. so
Okay.
you know who I am.
All right, just bring that right to Mr. Smith. All right, so just introduce yourself, then I'm
Yep,
gonna...
Justin Latini, I am the president of Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 207.
Okay.
And I am also sitting on the state council here in Massachusetts for the Vietnam veterans.
All right. Before you go on, I know Commissioner Farias had to excuse himself.
Sure.
Just two things that we were brought aware of. So we are only going to take up the March 24th one. Right now, the September one is going to be sent over to, any future stuff dealing with the veterans and that is going to be sent over to the VSO. The administration's coming up with a new policy that it's going to go to the VSO, and then the VSO is going to come to the park board and represent all the organizations. So that way, because it was getting too much for the city, too many organizations were like duplicating, there was like too many events going on at once and everything, so they
Well,
wanna...
just so the board understands, we've been doing this for 32 years here in the city. We started off at the Battleship Cove, moved to Kennedy Park, and then in 2015 moved to the City Hall. When the memorial was completed, the Vietnam Memorial Wall, which I presented here at the
Yep.
board several years ago, as a member of that committee, we moved last year for our event, which we've run for 32 years, to be moved to the wall. And it makes sense, that's where we need to hold that. So this is why we came last year.
Yep.
The board approved it. There's no expense to the city.
Yep.
We're self-contained, we can bring our own chairs, podium. Our speakers, we don't need electricity, they run on batteries. We're a self-sufficient ceremony.
Right, but just so you know, we're going to deal with the veterans organizations exactly like we deal with our youth organizations and our ball field organizations, where we have one
Sure.
contact person. And that contact person from the city of Fall River is going to be the VSO.
Oh, great.
So-
She also got a copy, if you
Yeah.
can see that.
So what we're looking to do is what I'm going to suggest that this board does is, the March 24th, it's pretty much upon us.
That's fine.
So that's something that we're going to
Sure.
act on.
Mhm.
But the September one, it's that, and I believe they have another item coming up as well. Those, any future items are going to be, we're going to forward them to the VSO, and the VSO will be the one to submit for these particular dates on behalf
And that will be
of the-
policy of the board, there'll be something in
Yes.
writing so we can see that
the-
going forward?
You're hearing it right here.
No, I know, but still, so when I
The
look up.
policy is gonna come from your VSO.
Yep.
Okay,
We're gonna explain to the VSO what this board expects,
Okay.
because it was just,
That's
you know,
fine.
it's the easiest thing to do. We
Sure.
treat it the same way as we do leagues. We have one contact person for the multiple organizations, and that'll be you and the other groups.
do the best, that's fine,
War
VSO.
War Veterans is on the next
Sure.
one. everyone is gonna submit their request of what they are looking to do in the various parks to the VSO.
Great.
And the VSO will in turn be your contact to this board.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we have no objection to that. It's just that when I looked at the park board's
Yep.
rules and policy,
Yep.
it didn't say,
Yeah,
we've always done it though, I'll be honest.
Yep.
We've always,
No,
since
no.
2015, we've always sent a letter to the VSO doing a joint and, but I would have to come in front of the park board because
Yep.
that's how it was
So,
done. But
right,
we
so
have no
that's why
problem
we're
doing
gonna, we're
that.
gonna
That's fine.
take it and streamline it for both of
Absolutely.
you.
Yep.
Your contact is gonna be the VSO, the
Yep.
your contact is gonna go to the VSO, the VSO is gonna in turn
Great.
refer to us. So
Yep.
the board wants to address that March one.
Yep.
It does say that he doesn't need anything from the city at all in the request,
No expense.
All right, yep, so if you just want to explain what you're going to do on the March 24th one.
So it's a ceremony, we'll have an opening speaker, there's a prayer, guest speaker will come in, we read the proclamation, and then we don't shoot the rifle volley at this event. This is a remembrance. So there'll be a salute, and taps will be played, and that will be the ceremony. It's pretty simple, it's
So probably-
20 minutes, 25 minutes max.
All right, so,
Same format we've always used.
okay. Any questions from commissioners? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the March 24th event?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Commissioner Rego made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Burns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I just need a motion to send the September 15th one over to the VSO.
Make a motion to send it?
Second.
Commissioner Rego made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Burns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, item E, request from the Fall River War vets regarding request for Memorial Day event and/or observance of Veterans Memorial at Bicentennial Park, Duval Street. Same thing, we're gonna, I need a motion to forward this to the VSO.
Make a motion to forward.
Second.
Commissioner Burns made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Rego. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Farias.
You didn't have to leave, you can sit here.
I know, I
As long
said
as you
that.
don't act on it, you don't need to leave the room, it's not a secret.
You didn't have to leave the room.
For society. Oh.
All right. Item F, request from
Staying this way.
Item F is a request from the Greater Fall River Recreation, kick off the summer event at Ruggles Park, Seabury Street on June 17th at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is an annual event.
Request to approve?
Commissioner Rego made that motion to approve. I have a second?
Second that.
Second by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item G, request from the Highland Pediatrics to conduct a resource fair at Highland Park, President Avenue, on May 31st with a rain date of June 7th. This was a event they did last year there. They used the Highland Park, and they had was all like resources around the thing, and while the families walked around and did some like exercises, and it was like a little family thing out that the Highland Pediatrics did. So they were just requesting to do a second event.
Make a motion to approve.
Second that motion.
Commissioner Burns made that motion, second by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item H, excuse me. Request from the tree department to use, this is a typo, it's supposed to be Kennedy Park on Bradford Avenue, or Middle Street, on April 22nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the Arbor Day / Earth Day event. Have somebody come up, Mr. Barone?
Good evening. So this will be a continuation of the event we held last year at North Park. Like you said, this year we'd like to host at Kennedy Park. The one change from the previous Arbor Day Fair is that we plan a joint effort with Earth Day So there'll be some tree plantings, different organizations doing some demonstrations, and DCM, I believe, will be doing some tabling to do some recycling education, compost education, and all kinds of good things.
I had one question. I know it was supposed to be on this agenda, but we forwarded it to you. There was a young lady that wanted to do an event too from BCC.
Yeah,
Did you-
I reached out. They
It's all
have
set.
they have found they're doing something with the water department in the reservation.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. Do I have a motion to, any questions? A motion to approve?
Second.
Who made the motion?
I made it.
Okay. Commissioner Farias made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Rigo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Ray K, item I. Request to use Kennedy Park, Middle Street for the Great Holy Ghost Feast to take place August 23rd to the 27th, set up to begin on August 18th. This is an annual event. Commissioner Rigo, you made that motion? Commissioner Rigo, you made the motion?
Yes, I did.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Burns, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item J, from Yasaria Capellis to conduct a backpack distribution event at Kennedy Park, Middle Street, date to be determined. I know when I first seen this, I had Ms. Smith put the date to be determined because they had the same weekend as the feast. That was not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So this is a new organization, so we still haven't heard back from them, right?
No, I would say if I were the board, my recommendation is to table.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, make a motion to table.
Okay. Hey.
Second it.
Commissioner Rigo made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Farias to table this item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item K, excuse me. Request from Mark Conrad to use of Griffin Park, Fort Street for the Corky Row Annual Neighborhood Event to be held on June 24th.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Burns made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Rigo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just so you know, this is pending all the
Oh, yeah.
paperwork. This
Yep.
is a tentative date. This is all he's sent in so far, so.
Yeah, it's I only did it that quick because it's an annual event.
Yeah.
Okay. Item L, request from Louis Latimer Foundation, a headstone foundation and celebration sometime in June at Oak Grove Cemetery, Prospect Street. Mr. Morano.
Could save you some stuff and everything together.
It's okay. Hello again. So the Louis Latimer Foundation, Louis Latimer, first of all, is an African-American inventor who worked with Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison. He invented the filament that is used in the light bulb today. I think Edison gets most of the credit, but that's neither here nor there. He is buried at Oak Grove Cemetery in an unmarked grave. So the foundation and the museum, his museum in Flushing, New York, where he's from, his wife was a Fall River resident, would like to erect a monument in his honor. So the reason why this is coming to the board is because it's not the family or descendants installing the headstone. It would be a private organization. And also it is slightly oversized, not for the lot itself, but for our rules and regulations. So it's an 8-foot wide, 8-foot long headstone. Typically, it's limited to 5 feet, but they would like to do something to commemorate, his scientific achievements. We have also engraved his name and a quote on the obelisks in the expansion. So I think this would be a fitting tribute to him, to make sure his grave is not unmarked, and hopefully, instead of just getting tourists to visit Lizzie Borden, we get some tourists to see Louis Latimer and others who are buried there. And they would also like to host a dedication ceremony Again, the date would be to be determined based off of, the availability of getting the marble and stone and actually completing the headstone monument for Mr. Latimer.
Okay. So,
This is 8 feet long?
Yes.
so this is going right at his grave?
Correct,
Site.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're going to mark everybody that's buried with him, so he's in a family lot, so there are, at least him and his wife are there. So Brenda from the office has provided the names, dates of birth, that, or at least the dates of death, which we have record of the people who are buried there, and they will also be memorialized on the headstone, so.
What are your thoughts on the 8-foot?
I think it's fine.
Okay.
We have allowed it historically. We have stones that are much larger than 8 feet, and our rules afford the ability for families who would like to do something bigger to come to this board for permission. So their lot is sufficiently large enough to accommodate that. And part of the reasoning why the 5 feet is the limit before coming to the board is we want to make sure that families understand that, something over 5 feet impacts their ability to conduct future burials. We don't think that would be a problem in this case. That grave hasn't seen an active burial in quite some time.
Well, I'm glad you just brought that up, because when I first got this, I thought the foundation was gonna come, I'm glad that we know now that he's buried at Oak Grove and everything.
Yes.
Because I thought it was just, we were erecting a monument at
Yeah.
Oak Grove, like on a special spot or something, just
Yeah.
because he was part of the inventing the light bulb. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I think it's a great idea, it's history. Now, the other thing too is, you have, I know you're like doing 2 rules, well, not doing rules anymore, but you have a new job in that. But are we gonna update everything now to say this gentleman's buried there now and that? Like,
Oh, we know he's buried.
What I know, but saying for like a tour or something like that, people know.
We know he's buried
the history
there.
and that.
The Friends of Oak Grove who have conducted the tours know he's buried there and have directed people there.
Okay.
But it will be nice that it's marked. We have had individuals come trying to find him, asking for him by name, but there's been no stone to direct him to, just a general area. So it will be beneficial to have a marker there.
Okay. All right. Okay, any questions? Okay, I think it's a great idea. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Burns made that motion, second by Commissioner Rego. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Chris, I just have one comment.
Yes.
When they do eventually have the celebration and everything, can we like send a note, well, for us, but then also send a note to see if he does have any like living descendants, that they're also invited? 'Cause
Sure.
I feel like that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, the museum, I'm sure, the museum will be publishing it through their channels as well. Again, they're in Flushing, New York, but they'll make it note.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Item M, field permit request received. So I just had Mrs. Smith add all who we've got field stuff, the permit stuff, because normally we don't publish it, but I wanted to publish since the last council meeting on the 14th. The council had this park board in front of them to find out how we do permits and everything, and how some people can't get into parks and everything, and how many parks are being used and everything. So I wanted it to be known that how many people we gave what was it, May 1st? What was the deadline? March 1st, sorry, March 1st, today, to get all your paperwork, all your stuff and everything. Most leagues should already know whose their rosters are and everything like that, why we still do. So now we're gonna give a 2 more week deadline to March 15th. March 15th, to get all this paperwork in, all their documentations and everything in. But right now, these are the only organizations, and there might have been a couple more after we published this, that got their stuff in. But the big thing that was, and Ms. Barano and everything was at the table, and that we got was the soccer leagues, and that we haven't gotten one thing from a soccer league yet. So, you know what I mean? It's like the council, oh, well, we need to make more soccer things, or we gotta do this and that. Well, you know something, they need to be on the same page with us and make sure that we go after the leagues and that to make sure they're getting their stuff in on timely manner, because if not, we're gonna start giving Ms. Smith the authority to, you know something, somebody's not gonna get the permits, and we're gonna book whoever's got the stuff that got in first.
Send out the pit bulls.
It's not fair to other people that we're pushing back. The
I
other
do
thing.
want the board to know that some of these individuals have submitted them completely. Others of them, I'm gonna have to contact because the information is incorrect, or they've only submitted partial information, or it's information that may pertain to some other organization, but needs to be, pretty much specified to us, the Fall River Park Department, and maybe to another organization where they have affiliation to, but there are a few, this list is as of Monday at 4 PM.
Yep.
I think I received 2 other leagues after that. And like I said, it is incomplete information from many of these organizations, so, I think March 15th is the, I will send out another email to them saying that this is the deadline. If you don't submit, there's a chance you will not, the field times you're requesting are not available. I've also asked them to submit to me in games and in practices. I don't have that information. I mean, we were told to possibly look into a premier field or whatever. I think sometimes these fields that are being utilized for practice should be utilized for games only, and practices should take place other places. So those are things that this board is gonna have to discuss. If the council wants us to change how we give permits, then we can't give a permit for 8 hours for a 2-hour game. But we need to have the backing of everybody when they go and make their phone calls and make whatever and say, we used to have 8 hours, we now have 2. We gotta make sure that we have that backing, because otherwise we're all wasting our time.
Because right now, what's going on, and that was brought up at that meeting, and Commissioner Rigo was there, by the way, too, I apologize. She was at the table, is we have the football team now, semi-pro team wants space. We have the soccer leagues. We have people, they want volleyball nets put up and everything, because that's the new thing. Pickleball courts, we're doing everything, but there are some people that are just getting blanket permits and taking up this parkland, and that nobody else can use that. So I think as the board, we make a decision today to make Britland Park games only. That's the premier field, practices, they use Tavassos. There's a practice field that's on the other side of Britland. They can do their practices there, or they can request any of the park's open spaces to do practice for soccer and everything. And that way it opens up Britland Park just for games. Because it's not fair to other people. We can't get more people in there to use that facility. That's the best facility we have. More soccer teams want to use it, the football team wants to use it, and we can't because it's spread so with a couple of leagues, but they're using it for practice and everything.
So is it literally taken 24/7?
Every day. Let me say this. Our problem is not that we don't have playing fields. Our problem is that everybody wants to play on the same field. They want to practice on the same field. That's where our problem comes in. So when they go to the city council and they go, we can't get any time. No, you can't get any time on your field of choice. So if that's the case, and I don't say that the board take the vote tonight, if that's the case, because in this soccer, football scenario, the field of choice is Britland Park, and it's used for practice, I would say 85% of the time that it's permitted out. And it's permitted out in blocks. So if that's the case, I think everybody's gotta be, that's the reason we ask for these requests with games and practices. Because if you have, say, for example, we call them blanket permits, you call them block permits. If you have a blanket permit from 1 PM to 8 PM, you shouldn't be able to just go schedule. If you feel like going to practice, you go. If you don't feel like going to practice, you don't need to go. And you have one game at 3 o'clock from 3 to 5:30. Because now that does become a problem, because we can't double book that field. We can't, because as far as I'm concerned, when you put in from 1 to 8, you got a game from 1, you got to practice at 2, you got another game at 3, you got to practice at 4, and you're utilizing that field. That's not the case. I also think that this board needs to address the fact that the school department personnel is paid to go in and maintain their property and maintain what they need to do. Oh, they get bathrooms, oh, they get lights, they get this. Yes, they do. And they also pay for the use of school department property. That is something that needs to be discussed. We've been kicking this can, how many times down the road? Year after year after year, and it never goes anywhere. But if you are not having to have some accountability for the field time that you're taking, why not take 5 hours? Why not take 8
So why do we just not give blanket permits? Like, what's the point of a blanket permit? It's first come, first serve. The first person who puts you get all their information on, they're number 1. Second person, 2, 3, 4.
Well, that's how this board wants to operate.
I mean, I feel like that's the only way that is.
But I don't think that that's gonna fly.
But-
That's just my.
Well, I mean, what else? There's no other option other than that. You get all your stuff in, you get first preference. Literally, to the timestamp of the email that you get every single thing that you need. And if you want Britland for practice and all that, there's no blanket permits. You give us the actual times, and then if number 2 wants the open slots, and they get the open slots. If not, then they find another park. Like, I feel like you said, we've been kicking this can. I've been on this board for 3 years. The amount of times we've had this conversation, like, I'm over it. Like and I will fully say that. I think this is the most annoying conversation every time I see this on the agenda, because it's, oh, well, we don't want to make anybody mad. Well,
And-
guess what? Like, I don't care at
And the
this
other
point.
thing that I am going to say is when the city of Fall River, we all know that the lights went to the leagues paid the lights, that opened up the whole new situation. Then the leagues, last year, the year before, they wanted us to take back the youth leagues lights and all that kind of thing. When the city of Fall River paid the electrical bill, we did not allow practice under lights. You had games under lights.
Yep.
Why can't we enforce that again?
I think we should.
It's just all I'm saying is as of, after March 15th, when we get in all of these requests, we're gonna have to take a good hard look at how we're going to do this. And do it, the board has the authority to do it the way they see fit. But I'm not gonna say it won't come possibly with controversy,
But if somebody complains, what the only respect that we can actually say to them is you didn't get your stuff in on time. The only person you can blame is literally yourself. Like, if somebody wants to go and complain to,
But
they
it's
can.
not the person that runs the league, it's the kids that are gonna suffer.
But they can go to whoever runs the league. Like, I feel like it's at the point where it's like we're making all of these excuses for all these other people that may be
No,
upset.
We
but
are
it's,
not, I get my reputation by not making any excuses.
But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we can't do this because someone's gonna be mad. Like, they're gonna be mad regardless, so we might as well just make a decision.
And that's the thing
And then
is,
stop having this
I
conversation.
will do whatever whatever the will of this board is. You tell me how you want to manage this. Once we get all these requests in, I will be more than happy to carry out the will of the board.
Because I promise you, if I know that if I don't get my stuff in on time, I'm not getting the field that I want. Like, if we actually do this year, and people can't practice on the field that they always have or the one they want, I guarantee you next year, they're gonna make sure they get everything in on time. And guess what? If they don't, then it's gonna be the same thing all over again next year. I feel like we're all adults here. When in kindergarten, you line leaders. The first person in line gets to go in first. I don't know what else to say, but this is,
No,
we're all adults here, so there has to be some sort of
We will
accountability.
extend the deadline to March 15th, but as everybody says, here's my other concern. By March 15th, everybody should know what they're doing. I've been involved, I had a child that played these sports. Your teams are set. They're already having practice. They've already drafted their teams. So 3/4, you may get a few straggler kids, but don't tell me that by March 15th, you don't have all your information and you're gonna open up on April 7th. Because you gotta get your stuff together and know who's going where and who's on what team and who's getting what t-shirt, what color, what hat, what whatever. So all of these people, it's unfair to myself, to my workers, and to this department for people to be able to send stuff in on March 15th. And then when their field isn't ready on April 6th, oh, park department's not doing their job. No, that's not the case. 2 weeks. You should have these things, this is not anything new. Rosters, how many kids you have, and we have to determine that. They asked us for rosters, where are these kids from? We've been asking for rosters for years.
Yep.
How many kids do you have? If you have 20 kids, you don't need 6 fields. If you have 40 kids, you might need 2 fields. We used to have every baseball and little league team that I've been here years and years ago, you had 6 T-ball teams, you had 6 minor league, 6 major league, 6 senior league. Now they're lucky if they all have 2. But yet everybody takes the same amount of fields as when they had 6. Something's wrong with this picture. It needs to change.
So I will say, whoever is on this list, which we do not need to go through this right now, but if whoever's on this list that physically has every possible thing to you, I feel like we should not wait till
None
March.
of them have it because they don't have their rosters.
So not one person has everything.
Nope.
Well, if you're on this list, shame on you.
The only thing that can be and needs to be voted on from this list is the 2 high school teams
Yep.
that are looking for time. The rest, there are still individual things that are missing, be it schedules, be it rosters, be it whatever. And I understand that some of that might not be able, but by March 15th, if you're opening up in April, you should be able to get all that information to me.
So
And I do understand that some leagues start May, not little leagues, but like adult leagues. So you can't really say first come, first serve because they won't have their information to send me in. You know what I'm saying? But they do know what they need on a last year's basis. And if their teams have fluctuated that much, then we need to adjust.
Well, just
the
have a
time-
question
dates
right
and
now. We have
times.
one of our league presidents here. Are you pretty much knowing what you have? Your rosters are pretty much
There's
together.
rosters that has to be sent in and we're.
But they're pretty much, you pretty much know what
I'm
you
just
have.
kidding. I'm
Amber,
just-
it's hot, trust me, it is hot.
And I'm not saying that it's not, but it's what it's.
Everything else, that should be in.
Yep. But your rosters are pretty much almost there.
Right.
You just
But
maybe
by
got a
2
few
weeks
stragglers
before
or
you
something.
open your season, do you have all your rosters in place?
Yes.
Case closed.
All right.
And we open up the 22nd.
And just make sure, because the council wants it, addresses.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everything, in cities, towns, whatever, because I know
Another thing.
one we got today was just zip codes, and, you know, I'm smart, I know that one zip code is actually across the river,
Right.
so I know that
Oh.
they don't wanna be cute there, to try to like hide that, it's not part of Fall River,
Yeah,
but,
he doesn't have,
No.
his organization, the preaching to the choir, because he has no choice by charter.
Yep.
All his kids need to come from Fall
Yep.
River. They can't come unless they have some type of a signed exception because they played in the league before, they happen to move or something like that. But all of the little league kids have to come from Fall River. We're talking soccer doesn't have to come from Fall River. We're
Yep.
talking other independent leagues don't have to come from Fall River. So we have asked for rosters and have always asked for rosters. And I will say, most times leagues do provide
Yep.
the rosters, but they're after the fact.
Yep.
You know, if I hadn't been in this job for all the time that I've been in this job, it would be very difficult for someone to give out permits. Extremely difficult for someone to give out permits. If I were not to be here right now, it would be very difficult, because no one would know what these people actually have done before.
So for the 2 high schools.
Yep, so,
Do you have everything you need from them?
The high schools are under a different situation because the high schools don't fundraise, they don't have all these certificates, they don't have their kids off from, you know, they don't need to provide rosters, they do provide pseudo kind of insurance policies because they're covered under the school department.
Yep.
So the high school teams that are requesting are very different than these nonprofits and individual leagues.
But I'm assuming you need like a schedule from them.
Yes, and I
But you,
do.
so you have that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So what I'm gonna do is ask for a motion. Durfee High School is gonna be using North Park for baseball for their field again on President Avenue. And that's gonna be exclusive for Durfee, for this season, and I believe they're gonna, maintain the field down there.
Make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Commissioner Regal, seconded by Commissioner Burns, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Diamond Regional High School, tennis courts at Veterans Memorial Bicentennial Park, same thing, Diamond will be using, since Durfee has their brand-new tennis courts, they came out and Diamond's going in now since Diamond's starting their construction.
Make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Regal made that motion, seconded by Commissioner Farias. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the rest of them, Ms. Smith, March 15th, deadline, and pending, they get approval if you have all the correct information.
No, we'll bring these back before the board, because
Okay.
if they're coming back to your April something
Okay,
meeting,
okay,
we're not going through that again.
all right.
So the board will know just who has what, and they can make their decision
So
that
can
way.
we make it like public right now that if you don't have it by April,
March 15th.
March 15th, that
You can do whatever you want.
no, like, I mean, like realistically, is that something that we can agree on right now? I know it's not, I don't know how that works, but like, we're saying the deadline is March 15th. But like, if they get it to you like 2 days before the board meeting so that they can get a permit, like what is,
Well, the board can say the only permits that you're going to entertain for approval at your April meeting are the ones that provide all the information by March 15th. You can do that.
okay.
You can easily say that. That might,
And-
whoever sends it in after that, they may have to go to the May meeting.
Mm.
I don't
Hey,
know how
now,
far you get with it, but.
Do you know, because I like Commissioner Burns' idea, like first come, first served. Do you have an idea who, were they date stamped or anything, who came in first and that, with their stuff
I
completed?
have some of it that's email, but
So we
you're
can,
not
like-
gonna be able to do that. Let me just tell you people, you're not gonna be able to do that,
Why?
because you're just not gonna be able to do that.
But
I think
why?
we should try.
Well, you can do whatever you
Because
want.
people are
But no,
gonna,
but
people
you-
are gonna go back to powers that
No,
be.
no, 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 no.
But
I don't
I'm
wanna
not gonna
go,
hear
no,
that.
that's not a reason for me. Is there an actual like tangible reason that we can't do that? Or is it just because people will talk?
Not
Or
talk.
complain?
People will contact whoever they need to contact to, I don't know how else.
Well, you were saying earlier, there are some people that leagues start later, so they won't have all their information by a certain time. So for those people, like, if you can think of someone off the top of your head, when is their
Men's
deadline?
league, they will start the end of May.
So when is
Because
their?
they can't play, because they utilize high school baseball players. So some of these groups that utilize high school baseball players can't start their leagues because the pitchers can't pitch for high school and pitch for the other team.
So-
So some of those are the leagues, like your little leagues that are from April to June or July, whatever their playoffs or whatever, depending on how far they get. Those leagues should be able to provide this information by March 15th, and if not all of it, pretty damn close to all of it.
So for those others that are, like, start later, you're saying that?
If you are requesting a field, when they're sending this in to me, they go, I want the field from March 1st, okay? I want the field from March 1st to September 30th. But they're sending me their request in on February 27th. How do you have your information then? You're requesting from March 1st. If you're telling me I need this field on March 1st, shouldn't you have your stuff together?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I'm not, trust
they
me, we're
don't.
on the same page with
Yeah,
that.
no,
But what
I
I'm
know,
just
but
trying
this is
to,
what I'm saying, this is how it comes into us.
yes,
So-
and I'm not downing that. My thought, I'm just trying to figure out the first come, first serve. If these individuals who have later times, do you, like, normally, do you hold those fields for them? Because you know those are the fields that they're gonna wanna use?
Usually, if you've had the field before, you will have somewhat, we call almost like first dibs to get it back, but you need to provide your information.
Okay.
And you should at least, by the March 1st that we're saying, say, I intend to have another, I intend to whatever, utilize whatever, I cannot provide you with my dates and times or my total rosters of players.
So,
But we don't even receive a courtesy call, so to speak.
okay, so I'm saying now, even those individuals who have later whatever,
Mm-hmm.
by March 15th, if you haven't heard boo from them, it's first come, first serve. Like,
I know,
if-
second that.
Like,
No, hold on.
I'm so over this, like, and like I said, I know people will go and complain, but you can't complain if you didn't do your due diligence,
Okay,
like,
and what
period.
about the ones that send it in and they just send it in willy-nilly?
Then, if it's not correct,
It's incomplete and
No.
it's considered not
No.
submitted, is
No.
that what we're saying?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
Not-
Then they have to go back to the parents and explain that they
yes,
obviously
like
don't know what
that,
they're
I
doing.
like, I don't know, I know that we're trying to like do everything
have-
right and all that, but like, it's,
Do we have to
it's
do
just-
their work for them?
Yeah, no. This is an unpaid position and I am stressed. And this, yeah, this is just too much, and I feel like first come,
Yeah.
first serve. If you want these fields, get your stuff in, like plain and simple.
And I think too is even with the spaces being open, if they're later in that, I think if you make, Brooklyn's the biggest problem with the soccer and everything. So if you made it just games, you're gonna open times up. You're gonna open a lot of time up. So that if someone came in at May, she'd have the
Yeah.
time to put them in
Games are supposed
because
to
it's
have
only
priority.
games.
Yeah.
But if you don't send me a schedule that has games and practices
Mm.
listed separately, how do I know what your priorities are?
And-
Personally, you wanna know what my suggestion is? That, especially at the soccer field, you award games only first, and then we will fill in the practice times.
Yeah. And like, mind you, I've played sports my whole life. I understand the whole wanting to practice on the same field that you play on because fields are different. Like, I get it. But if we're having issues with being able to let
Accommodate.
people be on the fields, then yes, I think that we should make that a games only.
But it's not even with the leagues. How about the average person that wants to go play baseball with their kids or something?
Yeah.
Or friends that wanna play a pickup game? They
But
can't
we don't
because they
have a
get.
problem with the baseball fields, there are plenty of
But I know
baseball
that, but,
fields that
and,
people
but
can
if
go
kids
all
wanna
year.
go play kickball, anything, neighborhood kids or anything, some of these leagues throw them out and say, I got a permit. No, you don't, you have a permit, but you're not having a whole game there or whatever, that's not fair.
Right, but they do have a permit when they
I was
have
gonna
a
say, I
running
don't know if we're
permit.
gonna solve that problem today,
Yeah.
but I feel like
You're
this
not
other
gonna.
one we could probably do something about. So yeah, so is that, can we all rally behind me? Cause I'm ready.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so just so I understand, anybody not in by March 15th, we're not entertaining their request, number one. Number two, Britland Park, we're now going to schedule, give us your schedule of games first. We are not awarding any practice time until we schedule games. And if you can't give us your game schedule, then you can't give us your practice schedule.
Correct.
Is that
Yes.
correct in assuming that? Okay.
Need a motion?
I make a motion.
Make a motion, Commissioner Burns,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Farias, all in favor, say aye.
I
Okay, we will address this again at our April.
I can't wait. I might be sick.
Oh, thanks, thanks. I'll drag you here. I will go pick you up. All right, Commissioner inquiries.
None.
None. Commissioner Farias, nothing?
Nothing.
Commissioner Rego?
Davis Park was brought up at the meeting.
Oh, here we go.
So, I think first, before we even go any further, that we should have a safety check
Yeah.
by the fire department and the police department first, to find out if it's safe.
That's what I said to Helen. I said to Helen, they are talking about, because she said, what are we gonna do about Davis Park? I said, I am not comfortable issuing permits for Davis Park with the roadway in and out of that facility the way it is. I don't know whether the engineer needs to go see it, I don't know whether public safety needs to see it, but if anything, we permit that out, and anything happens back there, and they can't get an ambulance in or out of there,
Or fire truck.
or whatever, you know, it's very easy for somebody to say, let's permit out Davis Park. A few things that were said about Davis Park. They said it's just for the neighborhood kids. That is absolutely not true. It is for whoever wants to go there. And we used to permit out Davis Park, but the people that were parking there were leaving all their trash everywhere. The Pigeon Club across the street used to let people park there. In order to get into Davis Park, they had to park on Meridian Street and take a nice little hike, hi-ho, up the thing. And the baseball field is all the way up that driveway and all the way down to the right. That's where the backstop for the baseball field is. So you already had your warm-ups while you're getting in there. Nobody wanted to carry in all the equipment there. So it's not that we didn't allow people to go there. It wasn't what people wanted to do. They didn't want to go there. It is a park that's open to the public. It is very, very close proximity to the neighbors, and I understand that. And I understand the fact that it's a public park. But before this board issues one permit, I think that they ought to get somebody in and out of there to understand that public safety situation of what happens if somebody's back there and something happens. There is not ample parking up that road unless you take that road where they said the basketball court is. That basketball court, you might be able to park, I don't know, 10 cars there on a basketball court. So you would have to take the whole wooded area that's there and asphalt and have people parking in there as well. And I don't know, that's something else that has to be investigated, whether that is an actual street, a paper street, an easement that is provided by those two property owners. I don't know what that is. But the deed to that property says it needs to stay recreation. It was donated to the city. And it needs to stay for recreation. So we leave it as quote-unquote open space recreation. You wanna go back there, Councilor Pereira said there's people that she went to the gas station and they wanted to go kick a soccer ball around. Those 4 kids are more than welcome to go there. But when you permit it out to a league or a group, you're gonna have 30 cars going there at one time. It's much different than just people going. It's not just for the neighborhood. Anybody can go there. But it's really not conducive to what these people are looking for. The complaint that they're bringing to the council, Davis Park is not gonna solve that concern. So with this board, if this board would, I agree, because I mentioned it to Helen, I am not comfortable sending anybody into Davis Park without first having public safety tell me that they can get in and out of there in an emergency.
So, I'm not sure if you viewed the meeting yet, from 14. So what was brought up there was either sending Titans up to this area or soccer up this area.
And the Titans don't wanna go there because the Titans are
You don't
looking for
even have-
lights.
Yeah, you don't even have no parking up there or nothing to be sending 40 to 50 cars or something up there.
But who is it that's saying, this is, again,
The council.
but in my head, like, if the Titans aren't requesting to use the Davis, why is it even being brought up?
Because they're saying that there was not ample
Space at
space for the Titans to have a permit. However, I informed the council that the Titans did have a permit. The Titans have had a permit for 2 years at Travassos Park with lights. They don't want to be at Travassos Park. They want to be at Britland Park. Why drive a Toyota when you can drive a Mercedes?
It's cheaper.
No one's paying, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You're renting the car, what do you want? SUV or a compact? So, the problem is not the space. The problem is, again, Britland Park. And we've solved that problem tonight because we're gonna put games only there.
So now, this was brought up in Commissioner Inquiries. Commissioner asked about a public safety walk.
You
or
can't
something.
vote on anything.
So we can't vote on it, so we can't act.
The commissioner asked, because when the commissioner brought that up to me before coming into the meeting, I informed Helen that I'm not comfortable with it. So she said that she will bring it up at the meeting to let the general public know that that's
So-
what we wanna do.
So, for the time being now, because we're gonna be, for our next meeting's a month away,
Yeah.
if we had a vote on it, and could we just not ask you to see if you could
I'm going to, I'm.
request a request from the
I'm
police
gonna
department, the
ask the
engineer and
police-
that, and then myself or maybe
City
one of the
engineer,
other
too.
commissioners,
The
something,
city
can do
engineer.
the walkthrough with them at that time?
Yeah, I have no problem visiting the site with them and answering any questions they would like, but I'm sure they've been familiarized with that location.
Okay.
So,
I questioned that many a time and told, leave it alone.
Even, I was approached, because that same meeting, there was a number of officers that were there, and they came up to me afterwards and saying, be careful what you guys wish for, because they had nothing but calls and complaints years ago for that area.
Yeah.
So, and when that was brought up, they were like, whoa, wait a minute.
Well, look,
That's what I'm saying, like, I don't.
everybody can, but I am not comfortable with permitting it out. So I said, I will reach out, because I think that's information that needs to be known. Because when something does happen back there, this is the place they're gonna come looking for pointing fingers.
They gon' find nothing.
Yeah, that's what you think.
Believe me.
Excuse me?
I know it's
Can't vote
like,
on it,
it's
but I
like,
will do it.
I'm not sure if you've ever been there talking Meridian Street.
No, yeah, no, I know.
So it's like, almost like an extension to people's backyards and that, but to me, I think, Mr. Pirano had brought it up at that meeting and that, about picnic areas and that. I think right there, you have the trails up there. Why not, if you wanna really make it open space?
I don't want any cooking back there.
Well, you don't have to make cooking in that, but
Well,
just
I'm
make
just
it,
telling you, when you
just
have a
make it
back-
like a
when you
picnic
call it
area
a
or something
picnic,
like
you-
there with the trails.
Be careful what you call it. When you call it a picnic area, and people decide that they're gonna bring their little hibachis, next thing you know, the whole neighborhood's on fire, and a fire truck can't get up that road. I think that we ought to leave, my personal opinion, leave it as an open space. You wanna put some picnic tables there, the picnic tables are just gonna be used for what the police are trying to get out of there. Because there is no family that is gonna truck themselves up that pathway and down that other thing, like I said to you before. Unless that's opened up and parking is provided for a number of cars, at least 20 cars, then no one's gonna go back there, because it's just a trek to get back there. Only people who are gonna go back there are the people that don't wanna be found.
Victor.
They don't use it. They don't use it now, as it is, right? They don't use it at all for anything, or besides.
So far, so good, knock on wood, I haven't had complaints about
I was gonna
Vegas.
say, people are gonna be like, ooh, what's this?
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it
we
out.
just now, like, drop the pin like they do on the phone. Everyone's
should
gonna
we
go
have
see
them
what
check?
it is.
She's gonna, we
I
can't,
will
we
look
can't
into
vote
it.
on it, she's gonna look into it, and then she'll contact,
I will bring the information back to this board. I don't make the decisions, I just enforce them.
but if they wanna set up a meeting before the board.
Who, the safety people?
Yeah.
They're not gonna wanna set up a
Yeah, I
meeting.
was gonna say, have you met with
Send
them?
you a piece of paper saying, I don't think this is a good idea.
Send you a
or,
quick
I think
text.
this is a good idea, and that's all we need. Whether if
Okay.
they say it's not a problem, then this board is off the hook. They are the authority on safety.
We don't have to go before the safety committee, the
No.
Who's
city
we?
council.
Are you people looking for trouble?
That's what I'm saying. What is going on tonight, y'all?
Well,
my
we brought it up, we heard all this.
Yeah.
Listen, I think if I send a letter to the police department asking for their feeling on this, and I send a letter to
Fire chief.
Mr. Aguirre, you said the engineer, so
Yep.
he can determine, and we also have to send a letter to the assessor, because I need to know, is it an easement? Is it a paper street? What is it?
Fire department.
Fire department and EMS, I would send it to all of them.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, there's the
There-
chief,
Oh,
there's
you
a
have the-
different guy over the EMS.
Director Oliver.
Whatever we wanna do, I will be more than happy to send the information, asking them, telling them that recently we've been asked to look at that
Davis
piece of
Playground.
property for permitting it out. What are the safety, do they have any safety concerns with that being, if they say they have no safety concerns, there's nothing more we can do.
Do you
They
have to
no
have,
safety concerns.
because it's buildings in the ground, do you have to have Mr. Hathaway look at it too, or no? If there's any, like, building stuff, like, anything, like, that could be dangerous over there?
If it's dangerous, it's there now.
I'm just saying, like, as a building inspector, maybe.
We're not building anything.
Well, I'm talking about equipment, anything, whatever.
No,
There
we're
could
not.
be anything
We're not
protruding out of the
saying we're
ground or
changing
anything.
If you wanna turn it into a picnic ground, now you're gonna get Mr. Hathaway into it. But if we're leaving it as it is, and we're just asking for access in and out and what their feeling is on that, then I don't think we need to go that far, but I mean, I can ask him his opinion as well.
Yeah.
Whatever you want me to do.
The more the merrier.
Not always.
Yeah, sometimes you just,
All right.
sometimes the more you ask, the worse it gets.
All right, is that it? Hey, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Farias made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Rego. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oh, I missed y'all.